friends, we are back. It is Mai Tai Happy Hour. It is Mai Tai TV. We are live. I am here. There's John.
I'm here.
Right here's Gabe. Come a little closer.
Come on in, buddy.
Come here. Yes, right. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, we are back for the first live Mai Tai Happy Hour in over a year, in 14 months.
Vaccinated.
Happy
to be here.
So psyched. It's been a long year.
It has.
And I'm peachy excited. Is that the right thing to say?
Feels right to go with it.
Like I'm just there are a lot of feelings going on right now.
Yes, you can't really see, even though we're in very high definition right now. There are little tears in my eyes behind my glasses.
Very nice glasses, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Are those the same ones you had before?
They are the same ones I had before. They'll be the only kind I ever buy again.
But they're more meaningful now.
They are.
Yeah.
They're hiding my tears on the return on Reclamation Day.
Speaking of which, what are we talking about this Reclamation Day?
Well, we're talking about Uncle Peckerhead, which just dropped recently, video on demand. We're going to talk about the brand new Dropkick Murphys album, which I think is pretty excellent. We're also going to talk about what I think is my movie of the year that I saw too early in the year to be calling it that, but I'm going to call it anyway, Mitchell's vs. the Machines on Netflix. And George has watched something called Son of Sam that he says is probably not fan-bone friendly, so I'm going to throw it to him when the time comes for that.
Hey, it's not that it's ham-bone friendly. It's a documentary. It's about a serial killer. But it's not just about a serial killer. It's about the man who hunted down the truth. So it's actually even better than that.
See, I like that.
Yeah, you might actually like this in retrospect. But when I started watching, I'm like, I don't want you to, documentaries. I know that.
I'm not a big documentary guy.
But first of all, what's our cocktail for the Reclamation Day cocktail?
So I was like, I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks, to be very honest with you. I was thinking about it for a couple weeks and going on the Google machine, as I've been known to do, and trying to find something that like says it's like freedom and like reclamation and all that other stuff, liberty. But everything comes up like really douchey and like red, white, and blue and layered, and I'm not about that life. But one of my last searches I did, one of the sub things was Planner's Punch, and I thought, you know what? I found actually this was the dethroner of what I had originally found. It said gin in it, and I'm like, listen, man, if you're drinking on Reclamation Day, you're not drinking gin. So this is called a Planner's Punch. We've done this recipe before 100 or so episodes ago, so I feel like it's the right one when we're opening up the vault. So Planner's Punch is 3 ounces of dark rum, 1 ounce of lime juice, 3/4 ounces of simple syrup, 1/4 ounce of allspice dram, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, and you're going to combine all the ingredients in a shaker with crushed ice or ice pellets if you have something that makes ice pellets.
Oh my goodness, I've always wanted the ice pellet machine.
Yeah.
But it's like $400.
It's like Dippin' Dots your alcohol.
And I just can't do it.
Yeah,
but
no.
I feel like if there is going to be a silly thing I get, that's going to be it.
It's got to be that. But you're going to shake it vigorously and strain it into a low ball filled with crushed ice, and you're going to garnish with a sprig of mint. The Planner's Punch, something delightful and refreshing when you open the vault door and you're back with your friends.
I am so glad to be back with my friends. I want to apologize for last week's episode. We had some major technical difficulties, but it doesn't matter because it was the last episode before we're back and next to each other.
Amazing.
It's very hard. The hardest part about not being in the same room is the hand signals. Like, I'm so used to being like, I need to talk now. Look at this.
Yeah.
We can pause each other and give each other the look. You can't do that when you do this virtually.
Yeah, I also have to comb my hair and wear actual pants, so this is also pretty big for me.
I haven't brushed my teeth in a year. Like I see no use for brushing teeth in this environment right now. It just doesn't make sense. I am not I just don't really understand. And I told that to my dentist too. Like, I went up there and she's like, well, are you flossing? I'm like, I'm not even fucking brushing my teeth.
When did I ever floss?
Like, who
that's the real
flosses?
question.
Out there, the question is being asked right now, do you floss? Because I don't believe anyone actually flosses.
Yeah, I think it's a conspiracy by Big Dental. I hate to be the conspiracy guy, but I will be a conspiracy guy for this because I like to believe that like all the dental floss that is sold in the world, like most of it is like a gimmick. It's like the magician's handshake among dentists where they're like, how many things of dental floss can you actually sell? And they know no one uses it.
So the first thing I want to talk about before we go into our topics, which are just, kind of like window dressing for the return of George and John, a return of true Mai Tai Happy Hour. I kind of want to talk about some good things that happened to us the last 12 months because I feel like not everything was bad. I will start. Gabe didn't speak prior to the pandemic.
He really didn't.
For some reason, being in lockdown for 3 months with us, he started speaking, and now we have a very, very talkative toddler.
I blame Paw Patrol.
Yeah, Paw Patrol and rescue bots.
That's it.
Paw Patrol and rescue bots.
Exactly.
You, what wonderful things have you done? I know you've done. I mean, look, you launched your own not podcast. You launched your own RPG.
I did. You know, it's weird because I had a moment several months ago where I was like, you know, thinking of the year as it was at that point, and it was like, oh, there he is. But yeah, you're on TV. Oh, that's it. That's good. I love it. He's doing a gimmick, and I love it. I thought about like the year, and I thought about like, you know, like what there had to be some good coming out of it, and I started focusing on the good stuff. So besides, you know, working with George and writing a rule set and writing 2 adventures and getting to release an adventure so far and kickstarting the adventure, like for me, it actually got me to like kind of slow down, which is something that transitioning from being on the road as much as I was and for the life that I was leading, like I needed to slow down. And this actually forced me to like stay home and cook more and like just be. So I was very grateful for that, like having to like just chill out.
Yeah, I mean, I played more video games than I've ever played in my entire life. That is the one thing that I cannot even begin to explain. I was not a gamer prior to the pandemic. I am now, there is a video game playing in the background at all time now. And I feel like that's because I do have the ability to, I don't know, ignore really boring meetings and play video games. No, I'm just kidding. I just, it's something I've always enjoyed doing, but I actually have found the time. Look, that 1 hour to drive to work and back is a lot of time when you think about it.
It really is. I mean, when you think about going 2 ways, that's 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
That is your time.
That is 10 hours I now play video games.
You're not getting compensated for that. And now you can actually enjoy not getting compensated for that. Yeah, I mean, for me as well, I definitely like, I mean, my girlfriend Sally is amazing. She's not watching right now. She's actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. But like, I'm grateful because we spent every Wednesday night for the last year playing D&D together. And we had to find ways to actually, you know, not do that, fall into all the traps you normally fall into when you're early dating someone because there was a fucking pandemic going on. So you had to like, you know, talk and become friends and stuff. And I think it really helped.
Yeah, I mean, I always said at the beginning of this pandemic, like, we are going to see some divorces come out of this.
Oh, yeah.
And in some cases, it's like, if you survive this with your wife, you know you're meant to be together.
Yeah.
I don't think we've even had a fight in the last year, but she has her own room during the day.
Yeah.
I have my own room during the day, but it works out nicely. Gabe is in daycare. I think the amount of time we're spending with Gabe now, again, that extra hour you have with your kid, I think is a big deal. And for him, especially these days, these years, it's very important. Look, there we are right there. And I that's meant a lot to me. So again, it's just the little things that you have time for now mean a lot.
Hell yeah. I also think that if you can survive in your relationship during a point where you were scavenging for toilet paper, you can survive anything. Yeah, there was a point where you couldn't find toilet paper.
And that's when I bought a bidet.
There's some
weird stuff I bought during the pandemic. I never thought I would. Doing Verizon videos from this room in this studio.
Yeah.
Very strange.
You can write off the Tiki bar now.
Oh, I wish. But no, it's been a fun year, and I'm glad that we were able to still continue to do the show. We got a lot of new viewers. I do want to thank Alani, who's on the line right now. She's a big fan of ours on Instagram. Eric is on here too. Eric Seaman, thank you very much for joining us.
Eric.
Let's see how this live stream thing goes. Obviously, this is still our regular podcast. If you are tuning in weekly through Apple Music or wherever else you listen to, you'll still get it here. We just want to try live stream again. That's how we started this, and I've always wanted to go back to it. It's just realizing that just recording the podcast is a lot easier than trying to do a gimmick show every week.
And also, we used to drink a lot back then.
So much.
We uploaded every episode.
So rough. It's so rough. But I think the first thing we should talk about is Uncle Peckerhead.
Oh my God, yes.
Uncle Peckerhead's a movie that dropped. I think it dropped a while ago. I think it dropped late last year. But again, we lost a lot of movies that just fell between the cracks because the services to stream them weren't available, or there was not the ability to go to the movie theaters.
Yeah, I definitely think that there has been a benefit and a downside to the last year when it comes to cinema, because there's a lot of great movies out there that are getting pushed back or people aren't going to get to see, or by the time it comes out, you're just forgetting that you wanted to see this movie. Because remember, for the longest time, you'd see a trailer and be like, oh man, I'm looking forward to that. And then it just doesn't come out, or it gets pushed, or it just ends up on a streaming service with not a lot of promotion, and you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was the case for, a lot of movies, something like Uncle Peckerhead especially, because I remember hearing about it a while back and then just completely forgetting about it, and then suddenly it's here,
Yeah, so Uncle Peckerhead, right up our alley. It's about a punk rock band that needs a tour. They get a tour. They need a driver. They find a driver. Their driver turns out to be maybe a zombie, maybe a werewolf. I didn't quite understand the concept of what his midnight turns into a thing was.
Yeah, that is something I thought was kind of vague, but I like that it was vague, because it really wasn't so much about his transformation as it was about this band. And granted, touring as is, when you are a band with like no tour support, it kind of sucks. And you have to deal with like a lot of like weird things that you wouldn't imagine to be adversarial, but suddenly they become adversarial. So it was more about the band dealing with the environments that they were thrusted in and the things that actually happen to you on tour while being driven around by this potentially demonic dude who eats people at midnight for 13 minutes.
Yeah, and they choose who to feed to him. So it'd be like, if it's a shitty promoter who's giving you $3, like, maybe you'll feed him to Uncle Peckerhead, who happens to be the driver, who's also a weird werewolf type creature. Did you have any strange drivers over the years?
Well, I've only had one driver, because for the most part, we never had any money or like tour support. So anyone I was touring with we were driving ourselves and taking shifts. And after a while, they didn't let me do the driving anymore, because I was always generally hungover. So I got out of driving a lot, which sorry, Neil. But I had one driver. His name was Uncle Vic. He was amazing. Definitely not a demon. Definitely not eating people at truck stops. And it was like, I call it my retirement tour, because it was my first and only time in a tour bus, which was incredible. I mean, you can't shit on the tour bus, so you still have to stop the Flying J or somewhere to drop a deuce. But when you are moving and able to go and stand up, I mean, we've all flown. Most people have flown. Like, if you got to like use it, you can go and piss on a plane. However, when you're on a tour bus, you have a lot less people to get in line behind to use the can. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I get it. I have never pooped on a bus before.
I've
pooped on a lot of things. I've not pooped on a bus. I will say I really enjoyed the music in this.
Me too.
The band was actually a very good punk rock band. They were more of like, they're more like a Fugazi type punk rock band, I felt.
So my issue with the music is that it wasn't easy to find. And I still haven't found it yet, because I wanted to download it off iTunes. I wanted to pay for it. And they talk about the guy, and I think the guitar player actually is in a band called $500. And they didn't say, though, where you could get the music that he wrote for the movie, which I thought is kind of like a big misstep, because the songs are really good, and I wanted to buy it, and I can't find it.
I'm sure it'll be out there soon. I think now that it's more readily available, they might release it at least on a Spotify or something.
That'd be cool. I mean, then I'll have to sign up for Spotify again, but I would do it because the songs are great.
Look, one of the funny things I found about this movie was the situations they were in that led to Uncle Peckerhead having to meet people, just the shitty promoters, the shitty venues. What do you have any like one or two really good shitty tour experiences, venue experiences?
Yes, I definitely do. One time comes to mind specifically. We were in Ohio and we were booked to play this one club, and we get there, and back then it wasn't as like, you couldn't do a Google World Street View and see like the place you were going to play. So a lot of times it was, and also like a lot of places just didn't have like websites where it was like more than a couple shots that they put up there. So you really didn't know sometimes who you were getting into bed with till you showed up for the date. So I remember being there, and at this venue in Ohio, they were like, hey man, got two bands here. Great. Well, let me tell you something. Bands drink for free. And we're like, all right, that's great. And like, so how long can you play for? And we're like, well, our set is like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes. Their set is like 45 minutes. And you have a local opener? No local opener. Well, could you guys play a little longer? And we're like, yeah, man, we can play a little longer. It's fine. And he's like, and do you guys know any Dead? And we're like, no, we don't know any Dead. He's like, well, what about Dave Matthews? And we're like, we don't know any Dave Matthews. He's like, Pearl Jam. We're like, we don't know any Pearl Jam. And he starts naming all these bands. And we're sitting there, and now granted, at this point, we are a couple pictures in each. And he walks away for a second, and we're like, I think he thinks we're a cover band. And you're looking around the place, like, yeah, no punk or indie band is going to play an establishment like this. So we get there, and he's like, well, I just think it's bullshit that you guys don't play covers, and I hired you guys to play all night, and you guys are only going to play for like an hour and a half. And we're like, we told you, like, you booked us, And he's like, well, you guys can only play, if you guys are not going to play all night, you could only play for an hour because we're going to put the jukebox on because whatever. And then he's like, you guys aren't drinking for free anymore. So the other band and us did a thing where we would play a song, and then we quick hand our instruments off to the other band, and they'd play a song, and then they hand instruments back to us. And we just kept going back and forth. Granted, there was nobody in this place. Like, nobody except like the regulars who were there to drink all day and keep the lights on were actually in this place. And we kept going back and forth. And then finally, after like the fourth or fifth song, he pulls the plug. He's like, get the fuck out of here, blah, blah, blah. Not going to pay us, not going to do whatever. So, there was so many of us because at that point, we only loaded in what we needed to play. So there's plenty of people to get the stuff out quick. And I went into the bathroom and left an upper decker.
Oh.
Do you guys know what an upper decker is?
It's they just float. Isn't the same thing as a floater?
No, it's when they have a normal toilet and you take the top off the toilet and you take a shit in the water tank and then you put the lid back on and leave.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Fuck 'em.
I didn't think you were that mean.
I mean,
this wrong.
This was many years ago.
That doesn't affect the place. That affects the next person who has to poop. That's just mean.
I'm not saying it was a great plan.
Oh, I'm crying. That was so mean.
But, you did weird things back then in the day. It was a hell of a hard trick, not for that guy. There was other times, though, where, you'd often get to the venue and they would be like, hey, we're so happy you're here. We're not going to pay you. We can't afford to pay you. The show hasn't even happened. They're like, yeah, but the other act dropped off the bill, so we don't expect that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to come and see your band. So you can play if you want, but we're not going to pay you. So there's that. And then there's when you get to, I got to Wisconsin once, and we get into the bar, and there's no one in this bar. There's not even like the towny drunks in this bar, and the other band is there, and they are weekend warriors. They are people who, they're serious about their band as long as it doesn't affect their day job and, their day-to-day life. So like, hey, we got to go on first. And we're like, no, you guys are the locals. You're going on last. Like, no, listen, we got to get up early for work tomorrow. And we're like, we fucking drove 14 hours, dog. We're going on first. It didn't matter. It never mattered.
I just want to let you know that Chris Bueller just commented and said the upper decker is the best way to tell someone to fuck off.
I thought so at the time, and I stand by my decision.
I just picture that, like, I don't think I could do it. Like, I don't think I could sit and just squat and poop like that.
Well, I mean, if the actual back of the toilet is high enough, it's kind of like sitting on a normal toilet
with a squatty potty.
With the kind of a squatty potty. So I wasn't like squatting. I mean, I was comfortably sitting. And don't get me wrong, folks. I wiped and I did flush in the normal toilet, but I left something to remember me by in the upper part.
I just wonder how long it takes for that to go away.
I don't know.
Like, how long does it take to dissolve?
You already crossed state lines, buddy.
Because if it's in just full brown, like, nobody's going in with a glove to get it out.
I mean, like, and this is tour. So what are you living on? You're living on cheap pizza and hot dogs. You can imagine what I left. It wasn't pretty.
This show's so much better in person.
Fucking ain't right it is.
So much better. You don't even drink anymore. Oh, this is fantastic. I gotta put it out there. The movie wasn't great.
I enjoyed it though, because it was a different kind of horror for me because the touring was the horror part of it. And for a low budget movie, I thought they did a great job with the gore. I really liked the music in it, and also big ups to the director. I did read articles about it when I was trying to find the songs, saying that the other members of the band, the drummer and the guitar player, like the drummer and the bass player, they weren't musicians, but they were like, they spent like a month studying and trying to like figure out how to play some stuff and like get their positions right. So they didn't look like they were the band in most TV and in most movies that are clearly not playing the instruments, and it's painfully obvious. So the director and the cast did a great job making it look like it was happening. I love the gore. I really enjoyed the guy who played Uncle Peckerhead. You know, I think
that would be David Littleton.
Yeah.
And also the director, also the writer is Matthew John Lawrence.
Yeah. I think that if they had a bigger budget, they could have done so much more with it.
Yeah, I thought it ended a little wonky. It was. I don't think they really could figure out how to end this thing.
I thought they did a good job with that, though.
I felt like Uncle Peckerhead had just got turned into a heel at the end. I just felt, I don't know.
Yeah, but it could have went either way, you know. But also, they were heels in the end because they were feeding people to them. They there's some pearl clutching happening in the beginning, but then they got a little more into it, and then they realized these are bad people. There was one thing though that I thought was a missed opportunity, and I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it for people who are going to watch. But there is a thing that one of the characters has attached to his face that I thought they were leading up to something with, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also love the line, the name Blowjob.
Blowjob eyes. Yeah.
I just want to come in. I got to get that on our soundboard because I just want to call you Blowjob Eyes. Look at this. Oh, he's got such blowjob eyes.
He described the guy as blowjob eyes.
There were some great one-liners in this.
I think it was well written. I think there was some great one-liners in. I think it's an actually really good horror movie. I would love to have seen it go a little bit longer.
Yeah, I also think a lot of people try to sell it to me as like a Green Room, where Green Room is the last really good punk rock horror movie that came out, and that is an incredible horror. It's not even horror in that the bad guys are straight up just Nazi skinheads, and there's a punk band stuck in a club where they're being murdered by Nazi skinheads.
It's a goddamn masterpiece. If you haven't seen Green Room yet, I think, God, I'm looking at the camera again. How fucking cool is that? Weird. If you haven't seen Green Room yet, that is a must-see movie. It's not even really horror. It's more of like a thriller than it is a horror movie. However, it is a masterpiece from front to back. The villains and the bad dudes in it are like legit. You genuinely are concerned for the characters and the actors in this movie.
Yeah, that's a movie I watch on repeat. I've watched it at least once a year, so definitely Green. This is Uncle Peckerhead. It is available now on demand. You can either rent it. I don't know if it's on VOD anywhere, but I know it's available for like rental.
I call everything VOD.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, it's like there's the VOD that you pay a monthly fee for, like a Shudder or a Netflix, but then there's the ones where you can pay $4.99 on Amazon to get like the David the wrestling documentary that we
You Can't Kill David Arquette.
That still is nowhere else, but
it's on Hulu.
Oh, it's finally on Hulu.
It finally made it to Hulu.
Okay, because that is an amazing movie. One of the best movies during the pandemic.
Yeah,
it's one of the few that
great documentary.
That was one of the few rentals I paid for.
I paid $15 to watch it.
Yeah, incredible movie. It was $5. It wasn't $15. It was $15 to own. You might own it now, which is fine.
I bought it on Amazon.
So the next thing we need to talk about is the new Dropkick Murphys album. I feel like this must have been a holiday for you the day this album dropped. In Ireland, do they close like schools when the Dropkick Murphys release a new album?
In Boston, maybe, but in Ireland, they don't.
No, wow.
You know what? I will give credit where credit is due. The Dropkick Murphys continue to make good records, and they continue to make records where they sound like the Dropkick Murphys. And not in the way where the act and the gimmick gets stale. They do a good job of kind of curating and updating their sound a little bit. They definitely walk that fine line between Americana roots rock and traditional Irish style sounding music. So, I think at this point they've been around for like decades. They've beyond hit their stride.
Late 90s. I mean, that's when they first appeared with the lead singer of the Street Dogs as their lead singer.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were definitely more of a street punk type of band.
Well, they got banned from Boston for a while.
I don't think they got banned.
No, that
must be confusing them with like one of those like hardcore like.
No, they wrote a song called "Pipe Bomb on Lansdowne," which is where all like the Guido bars were in Boston and all the jock bars, and they were banned from playing in the city of Boston for years.
I can't speak to that. I don't know if that rumor is true, but Look it up. Let us know, and we can read about it in the comments.
Well, that was the whole thing, though, was because they were banned for years, but now they're pretty much own Boston. Like
they own Boston.
The city of Boston is the Dropkick Murphys. Like, we want to raise some money for COVID at a socially distanced way. They're like, well, here's Fenway.
Yeah.
I
just remember last time I drove into Boston, Massachusetts, to visit my old boss, Kelly. We pulled in, and there was just a giant banner for the Dropkick Murphys. Like, you literally, like, it's like, when you walk into go to Hoboken, it's like the home of Frank Sinatra.
Yep.
You go to Massachusetts, and it's like the home of the Dropkick Murphys.
Listen, Massachusetts only got but 3 speeds: Witch Burning, H.P. Lovecraft, and the Dropkick Murphys. That's it.
And I'm being told, look, I love this live thing because I can just get my fact checking right here. You are correct. They were banned for a certain amount of time from Boston.
Yeah.
I only was confused because they would do the annual St. Patrick's Day concert there. So I thought that was why they weren't banned, but I guess they are.
I want to say that after like September 11th, they were welcome back into Boston because, they were, that's when I first saw them. I first saw them, I want to say December. It was either December 2001 or January 2002, whenever the Birch Hill nightclub was still open, but it was definitely right after September 11th. And they get up there and they're doing their thing, and everyone is in the bag at this point. And they start playing Amazing Grace, and you just see all these like big tough guys and skinheads and punks. Everyone's crying. There was not a dry eye in the place for that Dropkick Murphy show. I mean, like, people were kind of like, there was like 6 or 7 songs left, and people just kind of couldn't get back to the rhythm for another 3 songs. Shooken. However, obviously people most know them best from Shipping Up to Boston, which was in that movie.
The Departed. The
Departed, yeah. And I mean, from then on out, the city of Boston was at their disposal.
I would say then they continue to have some really good music. The album was State of Massachusetts. That song is tremendous. And every song on that album is The Meanest Times. The Meanest of Times? The Meanest of Times. Phenomenal record. They came back again. They had the Rose Tattoo song with Bruce Springsteen for Sandy. No. Not Sandy. That was for the Boston Marathon Massacre.
Yes.
So they continue to pump it out. And look, this album is very good. I'm not going to deny it. They've once again created an album that I feel like this album is a little more the ebbs and flows of it fit nicer.
I agree.
It's not like here's some punk rock songs, then we're going to go into a whole bunch of accordion / bagpipe stuff, and then we're going to come back into some really slow. It's like this one, just like the track, the way the track's formulated it flows very nicely.
I agree with that, and I definitely think that they have found a balance between like, the roots rock stuff and the Irish stuff and the straight up punk rock stuff, and still peppering it with their goofy songs. Like this one has Mick Jones' "Nick My Pudding," which is a song about Mick Jones from The Clash stealing their pudding backstage. And, it's so ridiculous when you think about it. But, they made a pretty fun, goofy song, and it doesn't really throw the album like other bands that try to include try to make a goofy song where it, like, kind of screws up the flow of the enjoyment with the album. It lands pretty good. And they also take on, like, a lot of what I'd imagine, speaking directly to maybe a certain faction of their fan base where they kind of talk about how like America kind of sucks now. We need to get our shit together and like, not act like a bunch of knuckleheads anymore, which I wonder if that's going to be the kind of thing that's going to alienate some of their fans, but I think they did it well. I think they did it in the best possible manner that they could. And like taking something where it's political, but kind of making it apolitical at the same time. So, I thought it was front to back a really great album. Yeah, solid.
Turn Up That Dial is the name of the album. I feel that gang vocals on here, if anybody knows, gang vocals are when you have a whole bunch of people in a room together and they sing the whoa, whoa, who's. Most notably, Bro Him by Pennywise is probably the most famous punk rock gang vocal song, but any New York hardcore anything is. But I feel like the production, like I just have never heard gang vocals done so well.
If there's one thing that the Dropkick Murphys have perfected, it's gang vocals.
Sing-alongs. This is a sing-along album. Yeah. I do feel that the Dropkick Murphys are getting very close to pushing the Pogues off the pedestal as the Irish band.
I agree. However, I also disagree. And I agree insofar as the Pogues are almost aged out of like punk rock and that style of music. And, you know, it's kind of like the Dropkick Murphys have only been around for like 3 decades, but the Pogues have been around for like almost 40, 50 years.
To make music though?
They did. They did it on and off, but I don't know when the last time the Pogues actually really released a Pogues album was. I mean, they were touring again. I mean, I saw them for the first time again, I want to say in 2007. I guess it was Nokia at that point, Nokia Theater. It was the first time I saw the Pogues again.
PlayStation 5 Theater. There's plenty of names for it.
Lots of different names for it. But, you know, I think that they are going to, because I want to say that they started in maybe like 1980, right? And they had a run for a good long time into the 80s, early 90s, disappeared and came back, but they're not actually out there. They're not at the forefront of things. And you have to be a very specific kind of music lover of that style to really get the Pogues.
And that style is Boston.
It's kind of Boston, it's kind of New York as well. However, the Dropkick Murphys are still at the forefront of what they do. They're still out there. And they are getting newer, I would say maybe not younger fans per se, but they're still gaining fans. They're still kind of gaining some kind of momentum. So I think the Pogues are just about to age out.
I do not have the dates in front of me to do the math. And I'm just saying, because we feel very young, I'm willing to bet if you counted active years of the Dropkick Murphys versus active years of the Pogues, the Dropkick Murphys might actually be going.
Oh, yeah, they're going over.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But that's how it's like when you think about the Ramones, and this blows my mind because I'm so fucking old. Like the Ramones only were active for like 17 years. Oh, no. I guess it would be 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
20 years.
77 to 2007,
yeah, like
right?
The Green Day blows them away.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy when you stop and think how little these legendary bands were actually active.
Well, a song will last forever. You know? A song will last forever. A band won't. Like, you definitely have an expiration date on your band, on your career.
Cancer will definitely give you an expiration date.
Yeah, but, like, it's not meant to last forever. Bands aren't, I mean, granted, God bless the Rolling Stones. You know, I mean, they came about in, 1966? It's 2021, and if they can get it together, they'll tour in 2022. Iron Maiden, it's almost unnatural, the lifespan of some of these bands, but the song will last forever. And the Dropkick Murphys apparently might as well.
Yep. Hey, look, I'm excited for it. I do have so I decided to make a little game for us tonight. I mean, you are the only person who can truly participate in this game. But I felt like, why not? We should do something a little bit different. And this is a quick game.
Okay.
It is called Irish or Boston.
Is it all trick questions?
It's gonna be. I'm gonna say a word to you.
Okay.
You have to guess whether it's Irish Gaelic, which, by the way, I learned Gaelic is also Gaelic Scottish, but there's also Irish Gaelic.
Yeah.
Even though the words translate the same, but I won't go into that. Whether it's Irish or whether it is Boston, you get a bonus point if you can translate the word.
Okay.
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 The first word. Fianien. Fianien.
I'm going to go with Gaelic.
Do you know what it means?
No.
Cupcake. You are correct for 1 point.
Thank you.
Let's try another one. Packy.
Boston.
Fuck. What does it mean?
Oh, that means getting to-go booze.
Shit, you are good. It actually means package store, but in Boston, that means liquor store. Don't ask me why, but that's what it means. Play along at home, by the way, if you would like to. Just go ahead and put in the comments. Lauch.
That's Gaelic.
Do you know what that means?
Lake.
No, it's warrior.
Close enough.
But it could be loach.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it's low.
I'm also going with the phonetic pronunciations that you're doing as well.
My Yiddish is better than my Gaelic at this point. So that you are now 3 for 3 without translation. Oh, we had 1 translation. You have 4.
Yeah.
You're doing great right here.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a Johnny?
The condom.
That is a hospital gown. And what language is that?
So that would be Gaelic.
That is Boston.
That is Boston? Well, a Johnny is also, in the UK, a Johnny is also called a condom. So.
Look, you're doing well enough.
I gave it half point.
What is What language is a masshole?
Oh, that's bad. That's Boston.
What does it mean?
It means an asshole from Boston, from Massachusetts.
And there you go. That is our. I actually have one more for you. First, though, I want to say I do recommend the new Dropkick Murphys.
Me too.
Turn up that dial. Definitely, it's good. I think it's on Epitaph. I could be wrong, but it should be on Epitaph.
I want to pick up my phone, but you can Google it at home.
Yeah, it's probably on one of those labels. The only ones we review, Fat Records or Epitaph at this point. But
we have 2 speeds.
Hellcat.
Hellcat too.
Hellcat.
Yeah.
That's about where we're at. I recommend it. I think it's very good. I think if you like Dropkick Murphys, you'll love it. I think this is actually a notch better than some of their more recent efforts. So
I agree.
If you like Meanest Times, I definitely recommend this. If you only like the stuff from back in the 90s, you might not, because there's still a lot of bagpipes on this. Bagpipes live hurt my ears.
It's hard, man, because there was I think the last time I saw it was at the Wellmont in Montclair. And when you sit upstairs at the Wellmont in Montclair and you have something like bagpipes, it just hits the ceiling and just bounces off everywhere. It's hard. So if you do see the Dropkick Murphys in a venue with a high ceiling, make sure you're down low.
And it hurts their live albums, too. Like, they did a really good one after Meanest Times. I have a lot of my favorite songs on there. I prefer live albums. In general, I'm a weird person. I know most people don't. I feel like the energy of a live show is what I live for, and I feel like if you can properly create that on an album, like Live After Death or some of the other legendary live albums, I prefer to listen to that. But the problem with Dropkick Murphys is the mandolin and the bagpipes are so high in the mix on their live albums because they're such a bright instrument.
Yeah.
That for me it takes away from the song. So that's
also it's going to be bleeding into all the other microphones.
Yeah.
Like Dropkick Murphys have also done a great job at recording bagpipes in a studio. Because you're just focused on that one thing. But live, dude, like certain instruments just bleed into everything.
Yeah. So one more word for you. Is this Irish or Boston? Sliocht.
Gaelic.
Yeah, you are 100% right. You know what it means?
No.
It means the Offspring, which, by the way,
what? Did you actually Google that?
Yeah, I actually Googled that. The Offspring have finally, I've been on a quest to get some of those like middle-age albums that have not. They've released a nice set for
nice.
Conspiracy of One.
That's cool.
Which had some good songs on there. Well, this is the one with original pranks. But,
yeah, I remember that
but
one.
it's not an album. It came out after Americana. They have a very nice gatefold setup for it. I am a sucker for really good colored vinyl. And this has
wow.
a very nice...
you did a great job with that.
They did a very nice... So whoever spent $30 million, $35 million for their catalog is doing a hell of a job. It comes with a slip mat.
Oh, nice.
If you're James Ellsworth from formerly of WWE, you'd have this tattooed to you.
You do have a tattoo about it. I was just about to ask that if it was officially released by the band or if that was packaged with the back content that they auctioned off.
No, this is one of the ones from they didn't really say anything from the back catalog. Like unless it was an Epitaph, nobody was re-releasing their Columbia stuff on vinyl.
Right.
And once they bought it, I believe it's on Round Hill Records is who put this out. This I've been waiting for a while for. It took a little bit for them to, I think it was the slip mat that got caught up in pandemic.
Yeah.
Because the vinyl's been in record stores and they kept stalling me on my thing. And I paid a little more for the slip sleeve. It was like $5 more. But that's what's coming out now, which is great because a lot of their mid-era stuff either was very short pressed or never pressed. Like their last album, Days Gone By, was never pressed and probably get splinter or any of that stuff that I actually enjoy is very tough. But that just came out. Also, obviously, new Dropkick Murphys is also on vinyl. We have a lot of good music coming out. Rise Against Us new album coming out.
Yeah.
They just announced a tour, which I'm very curious because it's outdoors, which I do appreciate. I don't know if you saw what happened while I was in Florida.
I mean, life comes at you pretty fast these days, folks. If you're not on Twitter every day, you're gonna miss it.
It was kind of rhetorical, and this was not on Twitter. But Madball and the Cro-Mags.
Oh, I saw that.
They are in trouble now, aren't they?
Are they?
I think they are.
I mean, it was a major super spreader event.
I think they're being investigated for at least by the permit police.
Yeah.
Because it looked like there was like 10,000 people at Tompkins Square Park.
Oh, there had to be.
As John Joseph is heckling them for wearing masks.
Well,
the New York hardcore scene is very. It's just like, sadly, a lot of our heroes have turned into like Tony Soprano as they've gotten older.
Yeah. I mean, the other day, I forget it was a Danzig interview with like Rolling Stone or something. And he was like, yeah, man, this couldn't happen today. None of the punk stuff could have happened. He's canceled. You get canceled or whatever. He was going on and on about it. And people were like clutching their pearls on the internet about it. And I was like, have you like known anything about Danzig for the last like 15 years?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
It's just the whole, like, a lot of the old school New York hardcore guys. And I get it. They're upset because they haven't been able to earn a living.
Yeah.
These are blue collar bands that are not living off of royalty checks.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just trying to, then throw the anti-vax thing into the mix. It gets a little ugly. It gets a little icky. Icky. But, try to be safe if you go to concerts. If you're vaccinated and things are reopening, I do recommend you support your bands. I think the first show I'm going to is the H2O in October. I'd rather be at a concert than, again, some of these, like, Comic-Cons that are just gross to begin with.
Yeah, we will not be at New York Comic-Con this year.
No, we will not be.
There'll be no Comic-Con video from us.
But lots of good music coming out. Something I saw today that I was super excited about was the new Venom trailer.
Oh, I was excited about that too.
What?
I hated that first movie.
You are insane.
I'm not insane.
I thought Venom is my guilty pleasure. Like, I'm not, as people know, I'm not a fan of a lot of the Sony Spider-Man stuff. I'm not happy at how Sony handled that. It was almost Warner Brothers level with Justice League, but they luckily turned around and realized they like money. But Venom is one of the few things they put out in the vein of the X universe, where they're trying to cash in on the brand that they have, but it's not part of MCU. I love Venom because I went in being told it's one of the worst movies. I went in and took it as a tongue-in-cheek movie. Like, I actually thought it was more of a comedy than a serious comic book superhero movie. And I feel like no one else liked it but me. So I get that. I'm on the wrong side of the joke here. But I feel like the trailer makes it like they get what made the first one good if there were the things I enjoyed, and they're ramping it up to 10. Like, Venom is literally cracking jokes to open the trailer up.
It feels like they're leaning into that, and I like that. Because it's like, you are the symbiote that is attached to Eddie Brock. And so, like, it's kind of, they're doing kind of like a Perfect Strangers type thing with Eddie Brock and the symbiote. And I appreciate that. And yet, they found ways to make what's happening in that world deadly with and this is not a spoiler, it's the movie's called, Enter the Carnage or whatever. Like, bringing Woody Harrelson in as Cletus Cassidy as Carnage seems pretty cool. And I actually like how they're kind of leaning into, something that I loved in the comics, because I loved when Venom was like, man, maybe I should stop being a dick. And like goes to San Francisco to be the San Francisco Spider-Man and essentially become a good guy, which I don't know, was like 90s, 2000s. And that was kind of like some of my favorite Venom stuff when he was like, I guess I got to be a good guy, even though I've like actually physically eaten people, like Uncle Peckerhead. And, I like that they're leaning into that a little bit. So I'm actually, the trailer was so well done, and it's gotten me being like, okay, I'm excited to see this movie.
Yeah, Woody
cautiously optimistic, but I'm excited to see it.
And I popped hard when I saw Woody Harrelson at the end of the last movie. I was worried there wasn't going to be a sequel, but it looks like we've got it, and I'm really excited for it. I like Venom. I will, maybe one day as a bonus episode, we will do a Mystery Science Theater version of Venom. But look, excited for it. I'm excited to see any movies. I'm excited for the whole next wave of Marvel stuff. A lot of the new names revealed. The Marvels. People think that's just an attack on Captain Marvel, so Brie Larson doesn't get any love. You guys are insane. Fuck the trolls. Let's talk about the. I'm gonna screw up the names. You tell me what we're gonna talk about next.
Mitchell's versus the Machines
I know
on
why
Netflix.
Keep calling it Marshalls. The Marshalls.
Because I want to call the Marshalls too. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
So Mitchell's versus the Machine on Netflix is made by the same studio that made Into the Spider-Verse. With the people who were behind the Spider-Verse working on it as well. This is a story of somewhat of a dysfunctional family, an overbearing father, an artistic daughter, a younger son just kind of coming into his own, the mother that's keeping it together. The daughter gets accepted to go to this prestigious film school on the West Coast. The dad, realizing he needs to get closer to his daughter, says, we're going to take a road trip across the country. And when that happens, wackiness ensues and the robot apocalypse occurs. And it's all about the Mitchells finding their way to be together as a family and save the world.
Yeah, it's like what happened during, well, no, it would be Wall-E, because Wall-E was like way post-apocalypse. But this is like Terminator, cartoon form, but the robots are cuter.
The robots are cuter, deadly, but cuter. And I will tell you, so me and Sally are watching it, and we're dying. We're dying laughing watching this movie. I have not laughed this hard at a movie in years. There is something that happens in like late the second act, beginning of the third act, that broke me to fucking tears of laughter. And it's something that, you know, a little kid or younger kids will see and they'll laugh at it because it's kind of an amazing scene. But if you are my age and in my like generation of like, you know, I would say between the ages of, you know, 35 to 42, 45, there's something very specific that happens which broke me. And it was a joke that was a long way to go for that joke. But let me tell you something, paid off.
Yeah,
I know you know what I'm talking about.
I know. I wouldn't want to spoil it. I laughed a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I laughed. Like, this kept me going. I had to look up who the actors were in a few cases. A lot of these are not major actors. There are some, but not overall. It isn't very famous. But they can tell a joke, and they can nail it. And that's something hard to do in cartoons.
Yeah.
Without it being cutesy and kid stuff.
Well, it was Danny McBride and Maya Rudolph.
I don't know.
As
I know who Maya Rudolph is.
Hey, Danny McBride, Kenny fucking Powers. From Eastbound and Down. He was in Tropic Thunder. He was in Pineapple Express. Wow. Danny fucking
You know I don't like comedies.
Okay, yeah. So the cast actually was very good. It was one of the women from Broad City was the daughter in the movie. Abby, I'm blanking. I'm not going to go for my phone, but she was in it. She was fantastic. So you actually had a lot of good actors in this movie doing the different roles. Conan O'Brien was in it as one of the characters. Like you'd be surprised who Conan O'Brien actually was. Very well done. And they do like a lot of the tropes that happen in, you know, kids animated things with like the song and like, you know, things that normally maybe, you know, not to try to be too cool for school, but we all have that moment where you're like, oh, I'm going to cringe if they do this, but they do it in a way in this movie where you don't. And you really will enjoy this from like front to back. I highly recommend it, whether you got kids or not. You will completely enjoy it. It's an hour and 10 minutes. You'll completely enjoy the hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, no. It was an hour and 10 minutes.
Was it?
No, it was actually a lot longer.
Really?
Yeah, that was my one complaint. It's an hour and 50 minutes. Did you like lose a half hour of time during it?
I laughed my ass off so much. I thought it was it feels like an hour 10.
I felt the end dragged a little bit. I wanted to get to the end a little bit faster, but I think what really made it a little longer was they took their time to set up the family. It doesn't go action-packed fast.
It doesn't. It's a little slow. You're right about that. It's a little slow burn at first, but it all pays off throughout the movie. So everything that they set up in this movie pays off later in the movie.
Yeah, and I thought
felt like it was an hour 10.
I love the fact that the next door neighbors, who are the most like perfect family in the world, are played by John Legend and his wife, Chrissy Teigen. They were fantastic. That just the one scene they're in, that they're really when they're doing the kung fu moves, after doing the yoga meditations, was really well done. It's written for the comedy is written for adults, which I enjoy. These are the type of movies I love to show to Gabe. I think parents that always complain about the shitty things their kids watch, that's your fault for letting them watch shitty things.
Yes.
I don't let my kid watch like stuff like Transformers and stuff I grew up with and stuff I can watch like DuckTales and Muppet Babies.
And Rick and Morty.
And stuff and Rick and Morty. I'm a terrible dad. Solar Opposites. Oh, he actually just runs around the house going, "Where's the poopa? Where's the poopa?"
Oh, buddy.
Which, by the way, you need to watch.
I'm going to watch an episode later when I get home tonight.
I think Sally would like it.
Yeah, I will. I'll watch it when she comes over this weekend.
Like, I think she should give it a chance because the thing is, like, most women hate Rick and Morty because it's horrible, and their fans are pretty horrible. But I feel like Solar Opposites tries to, like, if you don't like Rick and Morty, you should give Solar Opposites a chance. I will stick by that for as long as I can. I enjoyed this movie.
I did too.
And I think this is one of the best cartoons on Netflix. Again, definitely not just for kids. and it's a great take on like the robots will rise.
Yeah.
Because in my house, we're screwed. There is a Google Home in every single room of my house. My office, there's 3 or 4.
And you have a Roomba, and you know those things are dangerous.
Oh my God, room. Oh, and that scene. Yeah. Yeah, the Roomba scene was good too.
It's so good because I saw that Roomba scene after your Roomba thing at Verizon.
Yeah.
You know, your video where like the Roomba went on tour, and then you had the battle Roombas.
If you guys get a chance, one of the best things I ever worked on was the battle Roombas, where we actually just try to get a Roomba to clean all of our headquarters in Basking Ridge. There's another good one coming too.
Oh yeah.
After the doc, I just wish people would watch these. I don't know. We make these. I think we got to put some paid behind them. Like, we actually are trying to make a fun angle at infotainment. Like, knowing these are commercials, but they're not. But it's tough. It's tough to figure out who the audience is for the weird videos I make. Definitely check those out on the Inside Verizon handle. I think, are we missing sidebars? I think I got them all.
I feel like you got all the
I
sidebars.
think I got them all. I think I even got Venom in there. And I pulled off the Offspring joke. And we did a skit. We did a skit. We still have 10 minutes left.
That's cool. You talk about
I know. I hate topics where I do all the talking. So hopefully you can chime in. But this is a movie, and let me get this up really quickly. Get my IMDb up. There is a new documentary. Look, all the stuff right now in Netflix's top 10 is very interesting. And next week we'll be talk about the Jupiter Landing show.
Jupiter Landing.
I feel like I didn't know anything about that until I saw that it was #1, and people are saying it is a solid movie about it's a solid superhero movie.
Yeah.
I believe is what it is, and I am excited to watch that. But also the Marshalls versus the
Mitchells versus the Machines.
Fuck, I just can't do it. It's hard without notes.
You want to say Marshalls? I wanted to say Marshalls too. I've told people about to watch Marshalls versus the Machines. They're like, okay, well,
yeah.
Do you mean the Mitchells? I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's just very tough for me. And then Son of Sam: A Descent into Darkness is the #3 thing. So we are literally hitting all the good stuff next few weeks. I also realized Adventure Time is. First of all, I didn't know the date had dropped, and that that's gonna be a rough one. Adventure Time in 2 weeks. We'll be live. You'll see a grown man cry on the stage.
Folks, I'm just gonna say, if they kill Jake, I am going to be fucking inconsolable. Like, I know we're gonna watch it. It's May 20th is when it's gonna air on HBO Max. I have HBO Max. I will watch it the day it airs. I will watch it after work because I will not be held accountable for the sheer volume of tears and heartbreak that will pour from my orifices if they kill Jake the dog in this. This is supposed to be the final adventure for Finn and Jake, which is something that they didn't do in the Cartoon Network show because it's Cartoon Network. But now in HBO Max, you got to wonder, like anything else on HBO Max, am I going to see a dick? Are they going to kill my favorite character? It's something that you got to worry about. And I genuinely don't think that they need to do it. I don't think that they need to do it. I don't think that there is any.
I don't think they're going to do it. I think
story purpose that would suit that.
I think they've teased us like it might happen, but it's not going to happen. I think he might just live off in another far off universe. He might have just went somewhere. I don't know. We will talk about that in 2 weeks. Definitely check out HBO Max for Adventure Time. This is going to be amazing. Then there's one more after that. They had to move the Peppermint Butler one to the end because they couldn't finish it.
Because of productions. Yeah. This was supposed to be the finale of Distant Lands.
But I do feel like there's going to be more Adventure Time now because of this.
Oh my God, please, more. But as long as you don't fucking kill Jake. So mad at you. So mad.
This is the Sons of Sam. The Sons, so it's plural. A Descent into Darkness is a 4-part documentary dropped on Netflix. This is not just about David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam killer, who terrorized New York in 1977, the year I was born. If you've ever seen the movie Summer of Sam, that is an incredible, incredible movie that talks about just 1977 and the blackout and the Son of Sam and the punk rock scene. It's a very, very cool movie about old New York. This is a great 4-part documentary. The first episode strictly focuses on David Berkowitz and his capture. what this is a story about is a journalist, and this calling him a journalist is kind of, he was like the journalist for IBM's like in-house magazine. It's like calling me a YouTuber for Verizon. But this guy was so obsessed with this story that he created, basically he started doing internet journalism well before there was an internet. This is the story of Maury Terry. He's kind of a private investigator. He believed that there was more to the story of David Berkowitz than this guy who went around the city killing people point blank with a gun for no reason. He was a spree killer. He felt like there were more ties to it than his dog made him do it. So he felt that he wasn't crazy, and it just didn't make sense that he would do this alone. And who is the son of Sam? The son of Sam is actually a guy who lived around the corner from David Berkowitz, and he had other sons who were the real son of Sam. This reporter's belief is that not just that David Berkowitz was part of a cult. Now, I'm not going to talk about what cult this might have ties to, but this goes deep. And he believes, because this documentary Right Turns Hard a lot, he believes that David Berkowitz was part of a cult and that the other sons of Sam were also part of the cult. And this cult lived and did their demon stuff. It was very much a devil cult in a New York state park in Yonkers that exists today, where they went in and found the underground tunnels with all the dog sacrifices, and it was a lot more than just David Berkowitz.
So does it like right turn hard, like Don't Fuck with Cats?
It right turns no. Don't Fuck with Cats kind of from Jump Street is it's bad. That was the trailer that fucked that up.
Yeah.
The trailer made that fun, and it wasn't fun. This goes right in that, and I will spoil something at the end. It turns out this group has ties to Scientology.
Oh, shit!
And it turns out that every other son of Sam is then murdered in strange, weird coincidences soon after David Berkowitz is arrested. And then it turns into, it just gets fucking stranger and stranger and stranger. And the problem is that the NYPD basically, David Berkowitz confesses.
Yeah.
He says he did it. He admits to everything. There's no trial. He pleads guilty. It's open shut. 17 cases are just closed.
Well, but he's a patsy.
NYPD is not about to, and David Berkowitz. So now what I know is David Berkowitz actually gets interviewed by the journalist later in the 90s, and he basically confesses to the fact that he wasn't the only one, and he watched some of the other ones, and some people recorded them. They may have been used in snuff films, but it was a much bigger conspiracy theory. But NYPD's like, this is closed. We're not reopening 17 cases.
Yeah, no. I mean, from what I know of the Summer Sam, when they got him, they were like, okay, the whole fucking city calm down now. We got him. He confessed. Easy. Like, that's a lot of paperwork if they had to go back on that. So, how long are the episodes?
They're only an hour each, so it's 4 hours. We watched it. We binged it in one night on Saturday.
Yeah, of course.
It was it's very well done. There is a conclusion to it. Obviously, that's why PT without reopening anything, but you see the early stages of things like Don't Fuck with Cats,
right?
Which is an incredible documentary about internet journalism, and also the Gone Girl story too. The documentary about that lady who solved the East Bay rapist, also known as the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
He had many names.
Yeah, I'll be gone in the dark.
Well, David Berkowitz was the son of Sam, but before that, he was the 44 caliber killer.
Right.
So
I knew that.
I didn't know these people had different names, but the rise of internet private investigators has been an interesting story that Netflix has done a really good job covering. Again, the Don't Fuck with Cats, which is a good documentary. It just they sold it really weird, like
poorly.
Even the trailer had a pre-roll that showed a man murdering a cat. That's the last thing you want to see. But Netflix has apologized and no longer is doing that. So that's being taken care of. If you love serial killers, if you love detective stories, if you love just New York, this documentary has some of the best documentary footage of New York in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it is always amazing to see New York looking like a bombed out Beirut.
That was New York back in the day, man.
Crazy. It's crazy to see how bad New York looked like lower than Times Square at that time. I mean, movies we've seen, shows we've seen recently, The Deuce, I've done a good job with it. Obviously, Taxi Driver is a great movie. King of New York. There's some great movies that show old New York, but this documentary has so much archival and stock footage, and it's just like every building just looks bombed out. And you're like, oh, if I just bought that brownstone, I'd be a millionaire right now.
It's everyone's story.
So I really enjoyed it. I do recommend it. And again, it's on Netflix right now. We have a lot of great stuff in the coming weeks. They were reviewing some Dinosaur Jr. album. We're checking out Adventure Time, Jupiter Landing.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of good horror stuff coming up. If there's anything you want us to cover, anything you want us to check out, definitely let us know. We're going to try to, we obviously, this is so much better live. There's no way around it.
Fucking A, right?
If you guys want us to continue doing the YouTube thing, we will definitely do it. I think this is a nice, easy setup when we're recording the podcast anyway.
It was great.
Once we get the timing down on when you come over, we'll know, maybe we'll do 8:30. You were really on time this time. But we appreciate it. We appreciate you. We appreciate you sticking with us all year long. And, we're trying to do something different. We're always trying to change things up a little bit. But at the end of the day, we are a pop culture podcast for weirdos. And, we love everything. We love you. And I'm just getting emo now. How can the kids reach you?
You can find me on the Twitter at Handbreaker. Oh, no, that's my old one. Oh, my God. It's been so long. I'm back in the chair. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at John McGuire RPG. I tweet sometimes. I've been posting more on Instagram, but yeah, I'm around. If you want to chat with me, Vintage RPG Discord, I'm there all the time. George, where can the kids find you?
Discord's the worst.
I love
the
Discord.
notification system on
you
Discord.
gotta mute everything.
Oh my God. It is just,
Yeah.
I can't, if I have one more person telling me to play games with you on Wednesday, and then I get all the notifications every time someone talks to you on Wednesday.
I mute every notification.
Oh, and wrestling spoilers. Oh my God. I just deleted the app. I just couldn't do it anymore. But Discord, we're not on there, but you can reach us at Instagram. We're My Thai Happy Hour. I'm at GLK Creative on Instagram, GLK Creative on Twitter. You can find me at cultofgeorge.com. This is My Thai TV, but we have a YouTube.
We're back.
Definitely subscribe to that. We have a lot of subscribers on our YouTube, so we do appreciate everybody that's checking us out there, either live or after the fact. I just drew it on myself on my lovely new Shrunken Head shirt.
Nice shirt.
From Middle of Beyond, I think the name of the company.
They're making great stuff these days.
They make great stuff.
They make great stuff for a while, but I'm seeing it more now.
Frankie's Tiki Room is going to be releasing a new version of the Bearded Clam mug. It's just going to be pink, a pink colorway. Really excited about that.
Yeah.
I also just bought, the moment you showed up, I just fucking binged and bought Tiki Tony's doing the Elephant Bertha from the Jungle Cruise ride and the boat as a package deal. I got those. So I'm doing a little bit more Tiki buying this year. You can definitely check us out. We're great podcasters. Sold. Rate, review, subscribe. No, seriously, rate, review, subscribe. Rate us, please. Except for that one person that yelled at us because we don't do the cocktails in real time anymore. That was our one negative review on Apple.
Listen, in fairness, I don't drink anymore for almost 2 years, so we're definitely not going to be making the cocktails in real time.
Yeah.
But I still teach you how to make it.
It was so bad. That was such a bad idea when we used to do them. Do you know how hard it is to make a tiki cocktail? We would do them in, that was nuts. Nuts.
Yeah, and then doing it over the air and shaking. There's so much wrong with it.
And we were drunk. We would show up drunk sometimes. There was sometimes you literally would take an Uber because you were already drunk when you got here.
Well, I would go see a couple bartender girls that I like, and we'd hang out, and they'd buy me drinks, and they'd be like, oh, I gotta go record an episode of the show, and I would take Ubers, and I'd show up, I'd be wasted. I don't remember the first 33 episodes, if I'm being very honest with you.
They're still really funny in retrospect, though, so check them out at our YouTube. By the way, love the battle jacket.
Thank you.
Battle vest is nice. The monster theme bottom.
Yeah, my girlfriend Sally, she sewed it all up for me. I got I got a nice Universal Monster patch, which looks more like the Monster Squad from Han Cholo. I got a back patch that I got off Etsy with Frankenstein on it, Monsterologist. On Instagram, I have essentially it's a Scooby-Doo patch. It's like Mystery Kids, Salt and Mystery stuff. I'm excited about that.
I love it. It's great. I've got a few new battle vests that I got during the pandemic.
Nice.
That I need to turn into battle. I got vests that I need to turn to battle vests.
Yeah.
And I have a sewing machine. So it will happen.
Yeah.
I just forget to wear the vest sometimes.
You know what? I needed some more pocket space for when I'm out and about, and sometimes I don't want to wear the full jacket or the full hoodie. So this is nice.
This is where we go. This is where we veer south. Anyway, take us out.
Everybody, remember, we love you. The big takeaway here is we love you and we appreciate you tuning in every week, and we appreciate you taking the ride with us, especially during the last year. So from our hearts, thank you. Wear a mask, get vaccinated when you can, be nice to yourself. Aloha.